What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Dangle Bet Selly 2022-23, the NHL season. I guess it got underway last week with EY's Preds having a little bit of two games.
It did. Those count. They're undefeated.
The undefeated Nashville Predators, a 2-game sweep in Prague. Nito Niederreiter, welcome to the squad, sir. 3 goals in 2 games. But we're officially back in North America. Chris Meaney and Eric Young here in the house. Dangle Bet Selly, powered by FTN Bets, presented by PointsBet Canada, right here on Game Plus Network and our FTN Network YouTube page. Also, of course, powered by FTNBets.com. 2 games today to kick us off with the Lightning and the Rangers, and then the Vegas Golden Knights and the Los Angeles Kings. Both games should be fantastic. You and I have a soft spot for the Kings. I certainly have a soft spot for the Kings as well. Inside the Bet Tracker, 45-1 to win the Stanley Cup. I think you can get them at 35-1 still. We really like their squad. We'll break down that game and then the Rangers game. We'll also take a look at tomorrow as well. We're not going to have any shot props. We do have some odds. We have the Canadiens and the Maple Leafs getting it on tomorrow night at the Bell Center. I believe it's Montreal's first home opener, like season opener being at home in years. I think 4th time since like 98. They always start on the road. Habs and Leafs tomorrow night. Oilers and Canucks tomorrow night. Johnny Hockey making his Blue Jackets debut against the Hurricanes. We'll break that one down as well. A lot of hockey talk, man. And everybody's in the house. I love it. Adam Rentcamp. If you bet Ottawa jersey for EY minus 250, cash it. Cash it. Boys. Thomas Chabot on the back of that thing or what?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Assistant captain Thomas Chabot. And he's going to be an absolute beast. I have him on like 80% of my fantasy teams. And everyone's in trouble.
I have a lot of Chabot too. He's fantastic. Something I forgot to tell you before we got on and wanted to talk to you about it in the green room. The Fantrax League that we always take part in, we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to keep the format. We're going to start fresh. We had a couple people who were a little flaky, didn't want to really return. I think I'm speaking for you as well, but it's the best format out there, is it not? Fantrax salary cap.
I'll say this: it's the best, but it certainly is not for the faint of heart. And I mean,
it's tough.
It's as close. If you really truly love fantasy hockey. And you see yourself as having knowledge and you want the experience, like it's as close as being a real GM as it's ever going to get, for people that aren't going to be GMs of a major franchise. The only thing you don't have to worry about is treating these players like human beings and worrying about them having families. You just trade guys and drop guys and whatever.
Yeah.
But all the other difficulties are there. The salary cap, it's real salaries. So, and they're following the same amount as the NHL uses. So it's the pressure of like, you can't just have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and Thomas Chabot. And, you can't have $10 million players on your team.
Yeah. Golden Knights. Although I think I'm on the Kings. I've been a sucker for the Golden Knights for years, especially when they're road dogs. I seem to jump on them, and it's basically split, but I think I'm going to be on the Kings tonight. I haven't made that final decision just yet. But the Fantrax League, so you and I have run it for a few years. I just wanted to bring it up because we're looking for a couple people. If you're interested in joining, it's not too late. We're going to make it free this year, and then we'll see what happens next season, but we just want to get your feet wet and things like that. So we've referenced it a lot on this show. You said it, EY Fantrax. They have absolutely every single setting that you can think of. And we don't play with too many crazy settings. We have face-off wins, takeaways, which is a little bit different, but shots on goal, of course, goals, assists, power play points. I think we can group it up to special teams points. So we've been running that league for a few years over at Fantrax. And like I said, there's been a couple people who've decided to back out. And I'll be honest, it's just a little bit too much for me to be the commissioner. This is just a lot going on. And there's a guy in the league that wanted to take it over, wanted us to be in it, and is looking for a couple more people. Yeah, cheers for sure to Brian, who's going to run the show for us.
Yep.
And we're looking for a couple more. He reached out to me this morning. He's looking for a couple more. So if you have any interest, you want to be in a league with us, I've heard some people have reached out to me, whether it's via DM or Twitter or here on our YouTube page, looking to play some fantasy hockey with us. Like we can consider doing like maybe a fun DraftKings thing on Saturday, like a DFS thing on Saturdays. We could consider doing something that if you're interested, on Thursday's show, I can set up the room and we could have you guys jump in and away we go. If that's something that you're interested in, or if you just wanted to play in a fantasy hockey league with us. EY said it. It is salary cap. You're the GM. You have the exact same salary cap as every single team in the league. Matthew's making 11 million, Connor making 12 something. If you had, Nathan McKinnon last year at 6 point whatever it was, and now his contract is up where he's 100K more than McDavid, you have to make tough decisions. You have guys on, the entry level contract, like 900K. When these guys get paid, it affects your team and you have to make cuts and adds. So just hit us up in the, in the YouTube section if you're interested. We asked you guys, I see some people hanging out, subscribe to the show. It's free. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify. If you guys can rate, review, subscribe over there, it would do us a solid. Smash that like button. You have any questions, any comments, by all means, let's get to it. Before we get going, I wanted to, roll through some of this. So Matthew Bingham in the house. What's up? We missed you, dude. Might have to sign up for a PointsBet account for props betting. He's in Ontario, so PrizePicks is not an option for you anymore. Unfortunately, that's right. PointsBet is the place to go. It is too bad about PrizePicks. Hopefully it's back in Ontario soon. I don't know why it wouldn't. But last night I noticed some edges for sure. Victor Hedman was 2.5. Adam Fox was 1.5. And you don't got to worry about juice odds over there. So I will say, we have the link inside the description of this video. We do have our free PrizePicks pick tracker still over at ftndaily.com. Still going to be giving picks, put a couple in last night. But we will be referencing PointsBet on this show and talking about some shot props as well. Make sure you use the promo code FTN for anything, guys. FTN, you're looking to be part of the FTN betting family. You can use the promo code Meaney. Save yourself a bit of cash. All picks across all sports, projections, tools, all that good stuff. I want to address everybody here. So Troy was in the house first. Kucherov -2.5 at -173. So these are the things. We'll keep an eye on the trends, early season trends. But what I've noticed so far, these shot props are absolutely juiced as of right now. So again, a shout out to PrizePicks for that. Dustin in the house. We are back. Adam Rankamp. Let's go. It's Christmas morning. Being able to bet Adrian Kempe's shot props again. Absolutely. He's at 3.5. I don't hate it. Dustin says, you can only find him 3.5. He used to be the go-to parlay piece at 2.5. Yeah, things have changed. Things have changed for sure. Matthew, hey, fellas. Happy opening day. Prague games don't really count. They do for EY. Hope you've both
do in the league. So
well.
You can say whatever you want. They count it as real games.
Preds are atop of the NHL standings. Cheers to a great 2022-23 season. He says, I still play him at 3.5 better odds. Second half, he turned into a volume shooter, and I think he keeps it up this season. Adam Rankamp talking about Adrian Kempe. I agree. Happy season. Any scorer picks for tonight? Emmerich, we will get to that for sure. Carolina Columbus under 6. Looking ahead at tomorrow already. Adam's in the house. Welcome back, boys. Welcome back. Shemansky. Troy, the GOATs, his French lesson to Josh Norris, hilarious. Check it out. Josh Norris, we love Josh Norris on this show. Yeah, we are getting after it, guys. We do appreciate you. We'll try to get any questions you have. We'll certainly get to them. Matthew Kramer, Avs got the repeat this year. Maybe we just start there. Maybe we just start right there, and then we get into tonight. Stanley Cup odds. The Avs are entering as the favorites again. I know you have really been all over them over the past couple of years. You just said it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Some of these younger players, like they'll eventually get into the early part of their prime, and we saw that with Makar. Bowen Byram was fantastic. The kids are still back defensively. They did lose Kadri. They did lose Burakovsky. They should be Cup favorites. It's tough to repeat. I mean, the Lightning are probably a bit of an outlier, what we've seen over the past 15, 20 years. What do you think about the Avs heading into this season?
Yeah, I mean, I still love this team. Like, the reality is, like, yes, they lose Burakovsky, but, like, who Nichushkin became last year, he's going to be playing up the lineup and playing a lot more important minutes. A guy that you can get really late in drafts, well, probably not in anymore, but he's probably available on your waiver wire, and I advise you to look into maybe picking him up. Is Newhook. He's going to center that second line and is going to play a ton of important minutes. This is the exact kind of player that Colorado Avalanche want. And what's his number one skill? The dude can skate. I mean, everybody on this team can skate. Bowen Byram is probably a 1 or 2 number defenseman on any other team. He's playing third pairing minutes last year. Cal McCarr is probably the best player in the NHL. Look, I'm a Nashville Predators fan, and I think Yossi is for sure in the top 5 defenseman, but nobody dictates play like Cal McCarr. Nobody in the league, not Connor McDavid, not anybody. And that's what I believe. That's what I see when I watch. It's because of him playing from the defensive position and his ability to dictate the play, keep pucks alive, walk the blue line, break it out, like, bring it into the zone with possession. He's a freak, man. He's a 1 of 1. I have loved this guy from day one. I wrote about him when I was at the Athletic. I told everybody to go after him. I said, if you're in a dynasty league and he goes past the 10th pick, you're fools. And I was right. And you were wrong. And so it's, dude, this team is unreal. I mean, I think the real question will be goaltending,
yeah,
probably,
for sure.
Pavel Francouz had an unbelievable preseason. He's saying he wants to be the starter. I think they view him as the backup currently, but I mean, competition breeds excellence, and this team is very dangerous. If there's been a team in the last few years, the last 5 or 6 years that could repeat, I think it's the Colorado Avalanche. But like you said, Chris, it's very, very hard.
It is. Yeah. I mean, they still have, obviously the young core there is, I mean, it's still there, which is key, right? I mean, still obviously they got over the past couple of years, Rantanen, McKinnon, they've locked these guys up. Landeskog is back. Like, those are 3 guys that they've signed over the past couple of years. Makar, they signed to a great contract. You look at Makar's contract and then you look at Seth Jones's contract. It's like, wow, Darnell Nurse, right? They got Kale Makar at a really, really nice contract. I think they'll struggle down the middle a little bit. Like, I believe the loss to Kadri is significant. Evan Rodriguez is a nice pickup. Newhook, as you mentioned, is a nice young player. Comfort. They have some nice young players that will get more ice time. I really like Arturi Lehkonen. They were able to bring him back. He was great last year for the Avs, basically a point per game guy throughout the, small sample size of the regular season and throughout the playoffs. The biggest question is in goal, but they're just so good defensively that, and offensively that they can maybe afford to take a bit of a step back. I think Francouz is going to surprise some people. If you look at his numbers overall, like Georgiev is a nice little goalie, right? He's played behind Shesterkin for years, and we saw him in a starter's role a couple times when Shesterkin was hurt. You could certainly see the upside, and the Avs saw it there as well. But I mean, it's a very small sample size. But Francouz, 57 games played, he's got a .921 save percentage. He's 36, 14, and 5. He's got a 2.46 goals against average, 3 shutouts. He's actually a pretty good goalie when he's healthy. That's the biggest thing. He hasn't been able to stay healthy. I think he's going to be the game 1 starter. I don't know if the Avs have announced anything. Last night, they released their Stanley Cup rings. I thought they were pretty nice, pretty slick, not bad. I don't know if they've announced a game 1 starter. I would say they go with Francouz, the guy who stepped up for Kemper last year in the playoffs when Kemper missed a couple games. He helped them. He's part of the squad. He's getting a ring tomorrow. I say he's the starter. He was going behind Georgiev in fantasy hockey drafts. There's still time to draft. I know Yahoo doesn't start their league until October 17th. Don't be surprised if it's a split or maybe 60-40 for him. He'd be a nice little pickup. And you could roll with both Avs too. If you're still drafting in fantasy, you could roll with both Avs goalies, get them cheap and get 50 wins combined, right? It's not a bad strategy to take. It's a duo.
So left wing lock is what I use to look and project goalies. They're saying Georgiev, and it's highly projected that he will start.
Interesting.
They've been wrong before. This thing is not 100%, but I would say 80% of the time these guys have their hand on the pulse of what's going on. So it's saying Georgiev is going to start.
So the Avs, we won't really get into the Avs. This is basically it for the Avs. They do get underway tomorrow against the Blackhawks. They're massive, massive favorites against Chicago. And of course, why wouldn't they? Alex DeBrincat, your boy, our boy. I think we're going to call out a goals for DeBrincat. Actually, you might need to get a DeBrincat Sens jersey. He just came out Players Tribune, had a little bit of an article for the Chicago Blackhawks and things like that. I hadn't had a chance to read it, but I'm sure it's going to be pretty good. Other Stanley Cup odds, you're not going to get involved with the Avs. There was a question there, Matthew. I don't have the Avs to repeat. I actually have the Flames this year at 15-1. I think it's still pretty decent odds there. I think if you're looking for other long shots, the Rangers at 20-1 stand out to me. I think the Hurricanes are fine at 11-1. I would still like to see like something else offensively from them. Max Pacioretty is going to miss a big chunk of the season. The Kings at 35-1, talked about them off the top. EY's Preds at 35-1. Like those two teams right there, I could see both of those teams getting off to a really hot start and losing that 35-1 pretty quickly. I could see them both getting into 25-1, 20-1. And then I will shout out Adam Rentkamp's Blues, because you mentioned them earlier, that there is value on St. Louis. I don't usually talk my Blues, but their odds are criminal. If Binnington doesn't get hurt, they have a great chance to beat Colorado. That was from last year you're talking. They're still going to score a lot of goals, even without David Perron. I do have questions about Binnington, honestly. Like Husso really kind of saved the Blues last year and stepped up. And then Binnington, that competition really, as you mentioned, UI competition could really be a good thing for a team and goalies. And that helped Binnington. But 40-1 is pretty crazy there. Let me give you one pick of a long shot, and then we'll move on from here. You can only pick one of these teams. So I won't even include the Preds at 35-1 and Kings because we both like them. Blues 40-1. Islanders 45-1. Or the Canucks and Sens at 55-1. That's really, really, really long shots. But who has a better chance to win the Cup? I think it's the Islanders or the Blues. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I like both those teams. Both, awesome coaches. There's no secret there of my love for Barry Trotz and who he is as a coach. I still feel that the Islanders, what they lack is they don't really have a guy that can just put the puck in the net. And that's, kind of always been their problem. Obviously structurally, they're great. They've got a bunch of very good players. Matthew Barzal, I think, was criminally low on fantasy boards this year. I've got him all over the place. He's a number one center. He can skate like the wind. He can shoot. He's healthy. The goaltending is obviously great, but like they don't have that one guy, and I think all those other teams that you mentioned have that guy. I love both the Canucks and the Sens at those. I will be putting money on that today, on probably both of them. And if I was to pick out of the other two, I'd probably pick the Blues. In today's NHL and how it works and physicality is great and defense is great, but you have to be able to put the puck in the net because all the teams do. And, the NHL wants offense. The fans want offense. And the Islanders have just never been able to produce enough to get by in the playoffs. Like I think there's a deep run possible because of the team and the coach and the goaltending, most importantly. But in the end, I just feel that other teams are going to be able to outscore them and they're not going to be able to keep pace. And that's been the problem for the last 5 years there.
Yeah, I agree. Some people are talking about boosts, so we may just run through this just a couple more minutes to help you guys out because now is the time, I guess, like your books are giving boosts for, futures and things like that. I will say, I forgot to mention this off the top. We have a fantasy hockey draft kit live over at ftnfantasy.com. It's $9.99 for the season. If you use the promo code Meaney, it's $7.99. Your drafts may be over, but I'm going to have a waiver wire article every single week looking at 4 game streams just to kind of help you get by your opponent for the week if you're in a head-to-head format. And it'll help you if you're in a season-long rotisserie. But we also have projections. Myself and Eric, Kenneth Lee, Javi Perlezzo, Griffin Swanson, we rolled through, division predictions. We rolled through who's going to come out of the East, the West, awards, all that good stuff to kind of help you. I got a ton of futures in the bet tracker as well if you're looking for that. But I did see Adam say he loves the Canes, but Aho and Svechnikov seem to disappear every postseason. You're not wrong. Like, you are not wrong. And when I was looking at the Canes again overall, I was like, man, they scored a lot of goals. More than I thought they did. They had 278. They were among the leaders in the East. I don't view them as a high-powered offensive squad, but they just find a way, sneakily to score a bunch of goals. Pacioretty, if he is healthy come playoff time, that will be a big boost for the team. Look for Seth Jarvis to take a step forward. I'm looking for Martin Necas to take a step forward. I don't think Jasper Kotkaniemi is the second-line center that the Hurricanes thought that they were getting. We'll see. Paul Stastny is a nice little veteran piece, but it will all be about Frederik Andersen for the Hurricanes. And I also saw Adam say smarter to bet on the long shots maybe to make the playoffs as opposed to win the Cup. Like, I don't think the Sens are going to win the Cup at 55-1. It's a nice little fun bet. You've bet on worse Senators teams before, so I would expect you to make that bet today. I'd say the
and I'm not
Canucks have a
saying
better
put
chance.
$100 on it, but I'm
Right.
saying
Little
you're not going to
sprinkle.
get 1 to 55's odds on them to
I
make
agree.
the playoffs. You want it, you got to risk it. You want the biscuit, boys. Let's go after it.
Yeah, and if they do get off to a hot start, like we said, the Kings at 35-1 and the Preds at 35-1 are really good bets.
Yep.
And I think we'll see in a month's time from now, they're 25-1 or 20-1. So if you jump on it now, you get better odds. Maybe you can cash out, or maybe these two teams go on a run and they're legitimate this season. The Sens are plus 200 to make the playoffs. I think that's a little bit better. And the Islanders are plus 100 to make the playoffs as well. And I think that is okay. I don't actually have either team making the playoffs, but we'll move on from the cup odds. That's really it. Long shots, Blues are okay. Closer to shorter odds. I think, the Hurricanes at 11-1, the Leafs at 7-1 is just like sucker money, fellas, boys and girls. Don't do it. The Flames, to me, at 15-1, I actually think they're better. They're deeper down the middle. Mikhail Backlund moves from a second-line center to a third-line center. You bring in Kadri. You're deeper down the middle. It's very important, especially in the West, right? You're going to get up against some teams that Kopitar and Deneau in the middle, Draisaitl, McDavid in the middle. So now Kadri is your second-line center with Lindholm. Huberdeau and Johnny Hockey could be a wash. You get Mackenzie Weegar. Sutter is a great defensive coach. Your defense is better. It was arguably one of the better units anyways. And you got a solid goalie and Markstrom between the pipes. So I think the Flames they're going to be right there again this year, maybe going toe-to-toe with the Oilers. Enough about all that. Let's get into tonight. Let's do it. Rangers and Lightning tonight. These two teams played last year in the playoffs. It was looking like the Rangers were maybe going to take it to them. They were going to win the series, and all of a sudden the Lightning said, no, not so fast. We're the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions, and we are the team to beat. What do you think tonight? It's kind of like piggybacking off of last night, last year, two good goalies and Shesterkin and Vasilevsky. Zibanejad was fantastic in the round last year in the playoffs. It's almost a coin flip as you see the Lightning are plus money here, a total at 5.5. What do you think happens tonight?
Yeah, I lean Rangers here. I think that's just because of my fandom. I love a ton of the players on Tampa Bay, and what they've done over the last 5 to 8 years is super impressive. Almost 3 cups. But the Rangers, man, like Shesterkin is. I think if he hasn't wrestled the top goalie away from Vasilevsky, and if he continues dominance like he did last year, he wrestles it away this year, he becomes the number one guy. Adam Fox is a stallion. Chris Kreider is going to do what he did last year. I believe that. It all comes down to confidence. Like he's had, how long have we been talking about Chris Kreider? Like every physical tool, power, skating, shooting, vision, smarts.
Yeah.
Like we've been talking about this guy for 6 years plus, and last year he put it together, and that's the player that he can be. Zibanejad, Panarin, and Kreider, I think that's the best line in hockey. I think that if you were to say bet on one line to produce the most amount of points this year, that's probably the line I bet on this year. Taking nothing away from Tampa, you saw the odds. Like, Vegas doesn't lose. They don't build a giant city that looks like that in the middle of the desert because people take their money. So they know what's going on. This will be a great game, and it's really cool. That's going to be the first game, people in North America see to start the season. Dude, I'm going to watch every second of it, and I cannot wait. I mean, for me, goal scoring, I've got Kreider, I've got Panarin, I got Lafreniere, I got Ross Colton, and I got Braden Point. Those are the guys that I think are going to score in that game.
Do you like the over 5.5? You think there'll be some goals here or what?
You know what? I don't think I do, and that's just because of the goaltending. I mean, I don't. Mm-hmm. I don't believe when these guys are super fresh like this. At the end of the season, I think it could be a thing, but like they're never going to be more dialed in and more on than they are in the first game of the season. That's how I look at it. So I think I would go under on that, and that stinks. It's boring. Nobody likes betting unders. But when you got the two best goalies in the league, I'm not betting over 5. Just not.
I could see like a 3-2 game. I have a lean to the under. If it's going to happen, I could see that's the way I could see things shaping out. It's interesting what the Islanders are doing so far with their lines now. It's just early, but they got Kako on that top line with Kreider and Zibanejad, Panarin with Trocheck and Kravtsov, and then Lafreniere is on that third line with Hedl and Goudreau. And this the fourth line. Jimmy Vesey is there. Is he back? He's back for another go, or does he always stick around? Who knows? But yeah, the defense is usually it's just the same, right? Lindgren with Fox and Miller with Trouba. On the other side, Tampa, it looks like they're loading up the top line. We've seen this before in the past. We'll see it split up throughout the season, but Stamkos, Point, and Kucherov to start. Nick Paul, Hagel, and Klorin. I was really, really impressed with Nick Paul last year in the playoffs, and they found a way to bring him back.
Absolute machine.
He was, and
playing on one leg, and he was still effective after that, right?
Remember when he jumped off? It looked like he broke his leg or blew out his knee. He went on the bench. Little bit of a chat, hops off the boards, puck comes to him in the slot. He puts in the back of the net. Unbelievable.
He was
third line looking like Nemestikov, who is back for another go with Tampa. Ross Colton in there as well. So, Capo is interesting to me, not for a shot on goal thing, but if he's going to play with those two studs, they could change things up halfway through the night or something like that. But Kako, plus 350 for a goal. If you're looking for a long shot, plus 390, I'm seeing. Use our prop shop, get the best possible odds. Why not? Let's just try to get a long shot here off the hop. He's a former second overall pick, hasn't showed too much promise yet. There was glimpses last year of why he was picked second overall. I'm not ready to say that he's a bust, but I will say that Trevor Zegras went much later than him in the draft. But anyways, plus 390 for a goal. I'm not seeing anything for an assist. Could we get behind maybe a point? Let's see what we can find here. Capo Kako for a point. Nick Paul goal, EY, Adam says.
I like it, man.
It's not bad.
Nick Paul, if he's going to play on that second line, he's going to play a ton of important minutes. And that's what you got to pay attention to. Sometimes another thing that I look at is these third line guys that sneak on into the first or second power play. You're most, the odds are most likely that you score during the power play. That's just how it works. Looking at that, you look at the first power play unit for the Tampa Bay Lightning, Alex Killorn, is playing. He's going to stand in front of the net, playing with Point, Kucherov, Stamkos, and Hedman. The puck can hit him and go in the net, and the odds are insane. So you could do way worse than Alex Killorn.
Absolutely, you can. Kreider and Zibanejad are two guys I'm looking at for shot props on the Rangers side of things. Adam Fox was 1.5 last night, but he did move away. So again, I don't feel like this is going to be a high scoring game. So I don't want to get too crazy here with different things. But Kreider is plus money for 2.5 shots. He's also plus 255 for an assist. He's a goal scorer, and I agree. I love the call by you. 40 plus goals. I think we'll see a little bit of a regression overall. I think last year will be an outlier season for him. He shot 20%. He's going to regress just a tad. But this is a guy that scored 30. He could pot 30 with his eyes closed. He can do that this year and still have a really good season. But he's minus 130 for a point. He's plus 225 for an assist. He is 135 for a goal, as you mentioned earlier. So he is interesting to me. And then his center, Mika Zibanejad, who was really good in this series last year against the Lightning. I just want to, we got some time here. There's only 2 games. We'll rattle off tomorrow's as well to get out of here. But last year in the playoffs, if you remember, let me pick it up here and find it. Well, he had 24 points. 10 goals in 20 games. But against the Lightning, he was fantastic. Here we go. He had 3 goals in the first 3 games of the series. He had 5 points over that span. And then he was quiet in the final 3 games. But the shots were there. 7 shots, 2, 5, and 5. His first 4 games of that series, he had 19 shots on goal. So he was finding a way to shoot. Minus 134 for 2.5 shots. So those are kind of the 2 Rangers I'm looking at. Kreider and Zibanejad. And then on the other side, we see Dustin check in here. Braden Point plus 100 is pretty interesting. Point is hit or miss. He's hit or miss, but he's healthy right now. He wasn't last year in the playoffs. And just the fact that they're going to load that top line. Who would you like more? I know, like, who'd you like more to score tonight on that top line? Stamkos, Point, or Kucherov? Because obviously they're all in play.
I mean, I'm looking at Point on DK, and he's plus 210, so I pick him.
Yeah, plus 210, pretty solid.
Well,
Yeah.
dude, for Braden Point, top line, top power play, playing with Stamkos, playing with Hedman, sign me up, man. And he's healthy, right? Like I think like a lot of people are thinking of like the Braden Point we saw in the playoffs. I mean, he probably shouldn't even have been playing hockey. He was so beat up. So Braden Point is a top, I mean, for sure, top 20, if not top 10 player in the NHL. If you're going to give me, I mean, you likely will never see him to score a goal at plus 210 for the rest of the year.
Yeah, you may not, right? Because you get your Sturkin in there, you get the 5.5 total, like all that factors in. I like him for a point at minus 130 as well. Just, Stamkos is too juiced at 2.5. He's minus 170, minus 182 in books. We can't get there. Adam says George's favorite player, Braden Point. I think his actual favorite player is Pierre-Luc Dubois, and then his second favorite player is Braden Point. Braden Point, Braden Point does not do him well. Okay, so I think this is it for me, in this game. I'm with you. I think I have a lean to the under, but that's no fun. I'm going to pick the Bolts. I'm going to take Tampa here. You're on the Rangers. It's a tough game to call right away, right? It's a toss up. Two really good goalies. You got the Rangers, at home here. The home ice advantage is key. Like MSG will be rocking, but I'll take the Lightning as slight dogs here to be able to weather that storm. But there is some things that I do like, right? I think if you're looking for shot props, the Braden Point plus 100 for 2.5, Chris Kreider 2.5, Mika Zibanejad 2.5. Let me just find the odds quickly before we move on for Victor Hedman, because he is also, if we're going to get 2.5 for him and it's minus 149, plus 155 for a power play point, it's okay. It makes a lot of sense, right? Like this power play is lethal. It's just on a night like tonight where I don't think there's going to be a ton of goals and we have Shesterkin in net. Yeah, I think it's a fine bet, Adam. Like it certainly is. He's minus 149 for 2.5 shots. I think that one is okay as well. As we get into the later game, like I might pair Hedman with somebody. So I'll say that there's 4 in play here. Point, Hedman, Kreider, Zibanejad. But I really do like Braden Point minus 130 for a point. I'll probably take a shot on Kreider at those odds, plus 255 for an apple. I think that's pretty decent. And then why not for my long shot? Kako plus 390 for a goal. He's 22-1 for a first time goal. All right. Next game. I think this one's going to be really exciting. You got the Vegas Golden Knights and the Los Angeles Kings tonight. This is a rivalry. This really is. The Golden Knights have only been in the league for a handful of years, but if you've watched, Kings games and Golden Knights games, it is a rivalry in the stands. These two teams do not like each other. I always see Drew Doughty throwing his body around more than he usually does when these two teams suit up. You got Adrian Kempe on the left and Jack Eichel or Adrian Kempe on the right, Jack Eichel on the left. Both of these guys are studs. I like them both tonight. Man, I'm excited about this game. What do you think?
I'm excited because it's hockey, but I think the Los Angeles Kings are going to pound them. That's I love the Los Angeles Kings this year. I like them last year, and like I'm looking at their lineup, like top line of Kopitar, Kempe, Fiala. It's insane. To know Arvidsson, Trevor Moore, who had an unbelievable season. I wish Toronto would have held on to him, but they couldn't. Quentin Byfield, Gabe Filardi, and Alex Alafao is your third line. Like that could be upside. If those guys play for the Nashville Predators, they're on the first or second line, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. And this is a team that I love. This team is unreal. And defensively, if Doughty and Dursey stay healthy, paired with Anderson, Matt Roy, and Sean Dursey, Alex Elder, like I know he's in the twilight of his career, but he's still a really good player. And Sean Walker had a really good year. I mean, dude, the Los Angeles Kings are dirty, man. They are dirty. And I think the Golden Knights, they've bet the farm too many years in a row, and they don't have the depth to keep up with the Los Angeles Kings.
The Kings are really good at 5-5 play too. Like really good.
They're going to smash Vegas tonight. I know it.
They're stingy. They don't give up a whole lot, and they generate a ton. Like they have a lot of guys that love to shoot the puck. And they added another one in the offseason, Kevin Fiala. It's probably my favorite bet of the night. In fact, it will be our free bet over at ftnbets.com. It's the first one that I put in the bet tracker. Kevin Fiala over 2.5 shots at -125. Jump on that now if you can. I'm seeing some books at -162, -165. That's going to change pretty quickly. It's the biggest miss price of anybody, I think, going tonight. Like even given Kreider and Zibanejad, like I am going to bet them myself. I'm not super confident betting those guys. We have 2 games to really choose from. Kevin Fiala on a 10-game slate would probably still be one of my favorite bets of the day. You mentioned who he's going to play with, Kopitar and Kempe. Kempe's at 3.5 plus money. I don't mind that one either. But Kevin Fiala just to get to 3. That trio is going to be really, really good this year. I'm excited for all 3 of those guys. I'm happy for Kopitar's a proven 70-point guy nobody seems to like. And down the stretch, he was clearing 2.5 shots. In the playoffs against the Oilers, he cleared in every single game but 1 or 2, I think, in that 7-game series. I don't really view him as a big shooter. He's a pass-first guy. But I think this entire first line could all hit today. Kevin Fiala is -135 for a point. He's plus 155 for an assist, but I think he scores tonight. He's plus 160 for a goal. I think the point is safer. Like you could parlay maybe a Braden point and a Kevin Fiala point. Get plus money on both of those guys is not bad. But 160 for a goal, -125 for 3 shots, plus 155 for an assist. Adam's saying Bet Rivers Unibet -165 for Kempe. It's tough to take that as a single, but I do like that, Adam. Like maybe we can pair it up with maybe the safest guy in that earlier game is probably Hedman, just because he's going to play like 26 minutes. So like maybe Kempe and Hedman, that one would be all right. Kempe scores tonight, plus 175.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about that?
I already got her locked in, buddy.
Okay. What else you got over there? I see you over there clicking away.
Yeah, I'm looking at like team futures, but for goal scoring, let's see here. Whew, man, the old bank account.
You know who could be sneaky tonight?
Oh.
Phil Kessel. He's playing on the top line.
I got him on a ton of teams. Like he was you could take him as your last player.
Pick?
He's playing on the top power play, playing on the top line. And he's still a shooter. Like I don't think he's as fast as he used to be. And there's times where he can be the laziest player on the ice, but there's not a reason Phil Kessel can't get the puck on the wing and rip it past the goalie. You don't lose that.
Dude's going to be motivated this year to play. He's going to be motivated
100%.
to play. Are you kidding me? This guy, he wanted out of the spotlight. He was fine to go and take a vacation in Arizona for, a couple of years.
Yep.
But to leave Arizona, now he's going to a Stanley Cup contender in Vegas. I think there's going to be a fire under him. He's going to have another opportunity here to play competitive hockey, and he's going to start. They're not starting him on the 3rd and the 4th line. Like, here you go. Play with our best player in Jack Eichel. Like,
and he should play there. Like, he's not a 3rd line player.
Right.
Like, I get that he's not Phil Kessel that he used to be. He's not going to score 40 goals. But, especially in Vegas. Like, I think calling the Vegas Golden Knights Stanley Cup contenders is problematic. I don't think they are. I don't think they're a very good team at all, to be honest.
I know. They do have some holes. Like, on paper, they have some guys that are, like, pretty solid. They dealt with a lot last year. They dealt with a lot of injuries last year. I think Logan Thomas at 20-1 to win the Calder, I think is an interesting, flyer. He held his own last year when he played Logan Thompson. I said that last time too. Logan Thomas plays for the Washington Commanders, and you don't want anything to do with him. Logan Thompson bats at 20-1 to win the Calder is pretty solid. This is the way the lineup shakes up tonight. Riley Smith, Jack Eichel, Phil Kessel. Those are all shooters. And those would be the guys that I would take a look at. The second line looks like Stevenson, Mark Stone, and Howden. I think Stevenson is interesting tonight for a point. He's going to play in the top power play. Stone is a pass first guy. Chandler Stevenson had a nice breakout. They're really trying to balance their line. So they got Marchessault, William Karlsson on that third line. That first power play, though, Stone, Eichel, Stevenson, Shea Theodore, Riley Smith. I'm seeing Phil Kessel at 1.5 shots at -161. Not bad. I think he gets 2 shots tonight. I really do. He's
So do
plus
I.
180 for an assist. I don't love it. He is plus 380 for a goal, and that I do like. Kessel, plus 380 for a goal. He's plus 108 for a point. And I think he gets 2 shots on goal tonight. I really do. He may even get in the first shift. He may even get in the first shift.
I think Chandler Stevenson too, right? Playing on that second line. He's got Mark Stone. I mean, Brett Howden is playing in left wing.
Like that can't last, right? Like that's gonna have to change halfway through the game tonight.
I don't understand. Brett Howden's 10 times the hockey player I am, maybe 40 times the hockey player I am.
Sure.
He's playing on your second line. Like you're in real trouble. I mean, real trouble. But yeah, Chandler Stevenson playing there. He's been real good when he's played, and he's playing on the top power play. He's plus on DraftKings. He's plus 320. Sign me up, man.
Nice.
Sign me up.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I like that one as well. We're both on the Kings. We both like the Kings tonight. What about the total?
I like Eichel to score too. I think a lot of what the Golden Knights are going to be is going to be on the back of him. Like, is he back to being one of the top 10 players in the NHL, or is he just a middle of the road guy that is never going to be right again? He did not look good last year when he played. He just, he did not look like Jack Eichel. His skating wasn't what it used to be. He just wasn't really involved, at all. And I'll be real interested to see. I will watch every minute of this game as well. That probably comes as a surprise to everybody listening.
No surprise, you hockey psycho. Troy says Arvidsson, Danault, Moore they're going to massacre the Golden Knights. Yeah, I mean, that's a really strong 5-5 line. It was last year anyways. So, they dominate the possession, and Danault is like one of the better two-way. I'd say he is. Yeah, he's an underrated two-way forward. We all know about his defensive prowess, but
we saw that last year, right? Like it was all about defense, and he didn't score. And then he comes to LA, and they're playing up tempo, and he's not asked to cover the best player on the ice and follow him around on every shift. So
I agree.
We saw the real Philip Danault last year.
So we got a couple
stand up.
Exactly.
Off the top of my head.
Pretty good. So we got a couple long shots here in Kakko and Stevenson and Phil Kessel, Kevin Fiala, to hit the score sheet, 2.5 shots. Phil Kessel's a little bit juiced at 1.5 shots, but I think he gets to 2 plus 108 for a point if he wanted to go that way. I think Kopitar and Doughty are in play for me at plus money for 2.5 shots. The Vegas side of things, like I don't know, like I think Eichel can score and Stevenson can score. I think it's better. Your money's more worth it to lay on those guys, maybe to score as opposed for shots for those guys. I mean, I don't know if Eichel gets to 4. Shea Theodore, I'm trying to find. Like I saw, I think it was Adam say Pietrangelo is interesting, at 2.5 plus money. He certainly is. I would rather do Shea Theodore. 2.5 is plus money. I'd rather do that when I'm seeing it now, plus 110. He's more mobile. He's on that first power play. He can create offense on himself with his own legs as opposed to Pietrangelo. So I'd lean him as well. Let's quickly just rapid fire through some of the games tomorrow. Obviously, there's no props and things like that. But let's start with the Habs and the Leafs. The Leafs check in as massive favorites. I already put the Leafs in the bet tracker at plus 110 to win by 2 goals, and I like the over 6.5. Matt Murray is going to start here. I honestly think that the Canadiens, on paper, as of like heading into this game with no Tavares, I don't think may even have a better lineup. I mean, the offense. The Leafs' first line is fantastic. The Habs actually have some scorers up and down their lineup, but their defense is atrocious. It's so brutal. I can't imagine the Leafs like not getting 3 or 4 on Jake Allen and the Habs tomorrow. So I think the Leafs, they're going to score some goals. Matthews is going to be at 4.5. Cole Caulfield maybe at 2.5, but I think he can get to the 4 shots. Like those are the 2 shooters for me. Marner is going to be interesting at 2.5 shots as well. Nylander has a history of kind of lighting up the Habs. Those are kind of the only guys. Do you have anything to add for the Leafs game here?
I'll be interested to see what goes on with Slokowski. Right,
he's going to play.
He's a child, but they have him slotted to play the second line. I really like that. I mean, he's a big dude. I get he's a young kid, but he's built and plays like a man, and I don't know if sending him down for them is the right thing. I mean, like if they're totally going on like, look, we're tanking this season, then yeah, he probably shouldn't play with the Canadiens this year. And I'll be curious to see if what goes on. I know you said in the offseason that you figure that he will not play with the team, but I'll be really curious about it. And I'm looking at, oh man, their 6 defensemen it's unbelievable.
It's atrocious.
It is unbelievable how bad.
What I will say is that they're missing Matheson and Edmonton, who are their 2 best in that 6, who are not spectacular anyways. But that's why I like the over. Like the Habs are gonna again be awful this year. They're gonna lose a lot of games. They're gonna be a bottom 10 team in the league. They're gonna give up a lot of goals. But yeah, that's why I like the over, and the Leafs will probably pot 4 in there. So yeah, we like the Leafs to score some goals. Slafkovsky
I don't even know who Jordan Harris is. I don't even know who that is.
He's young buck,
on the top line.
He's a nice little young buck, actually.
We'll see. We'll see.
We do have to get out of here. I was going to say something about that game, and I forget now. But yeah, Leafs and over. Slafkovsky will play 8 games. He'll play the minimum, and then he'll be sent down. They give him a little bit of a taste.
Is that what you think? You think he plays the 8 and then goes down?
Yeah, he's not ready. He's just he's like you said, he's a child. He's not ready at all. But they'll give him a taste, right? First overall pick. Give him a taste of Bell Center. Leafs come into town. Emmerich wants for you to repeat your goal scorers before we get out of here.
Yeah, I'll do that real quick, Emmerich. Let's see here. I've got Stevenson, Eichel, Kempe, Braden Point, Ross Colton, Alex Lafreniere, Terry Perrin, easy for me to say, Panarin, Chris Kreider. Those are my goal scorers for tonight. There's other guys that could score, but most of those guys, I believe in the odds. I really, really like Panarin at plus 255. And I think if I was to pick one of these guys, I'd probably pick Stevenson. And that's just because, he's playing on the second line and he's playing on the top power play for Vegas, and he's plus 320. I mean, he's a great player. The fact that he's plus 320 to scores, I think it's a no-brainer.
It's a good shot there. For me, I got Kempe, Fiala, Kessel, Eichel. I think most of the goals will happen in the later game. I have Point and Kakko in that early game. Fiala, 2.5 shots. Fiala for a point. Kessel for a point. I like long shots on Kopitar and Doughty for shots on goal. And then Kreider, Zibanejad, Point, and Hedman. Lightning.
I don't know if you can see this. I don't think you guys can see it. But that's Daily Faceoff puts up, and 3 of the starting 6 don't even know what numbers they're going to wear, and they're playing defense for the Montreal Canadiens tonight.
It's going to be a long year in Montreal, buddy. It's going to be a long year in Montreal.
When you're praying for Edmonton to come back because he's your best option, ooh-wee.
Take the over in the game tomorrow night.
Good luck,
Leafs
Jake Allen.
Leafs by 2. Canucks Oilers over as well. Got some more picks in the bet tracker for tomorrow night's games. Thanks, guys, for taking the time to hang out. It's been a great first episode, and it'll be a fun year. Any questions, hit us up at Eric Young, at the Eric Young, at Chris Meaney. And then, of course, use that promo code Meaney. Save yourself a little bit of cash. Be part of the FTN fam. Always a great conversation. Always lots of fun. Hopefully you win some cash tonight. We'll be back on Thursday. Have a good one. Cheers.